Hey guys, Devcom here, and I want to welcome you to my very first Beast Mastery Hunter PvP guide. You guys asked for it, so here it is. I'm going to go over talents and glyphs, gearing and enchanting, and how to do damage as a Beast Mastery Hunter. So let's look at the talents. Level 15 tier here, we have Post Haste, Narrow Escape, and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Chimera. 100% of the time I'm running Post Haste. Disengage also frees you from all movement impairing effects and increases your movement speed by 60% for 8 seconds. I believe this matches my playstyle the most, and because of that, I don't run Narrow Escape and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Chimera. I have not lost any games really from not running Narrow Escape, and Post Haste actually has saved me a couple times getting out of a Frost Nova from setups and being able to run behind a pillar to LOS. The level 30 tier is pretty much a crowd control tier. The only talents I use in this tier is Binding Shot and Wyvern Sting. Compared to those two, Intimidation just doesn't compete at all. Wyvern Sting is most only used in Arena by me. In comps, if I play Thug Cleave example with the rogue's going to stun everything. So I'm going to run Wyvern Sting so I don't DR his stuns. But keep in mind, Wyvern Sting does DR your traps. And then for everything else, and for comps that don't have any stuns, I will run Binding Shot. Binding Shot fires a magical projectile, tethering the enemy and any other enemies within 5 yards for 10 seconds. The enemies do have to move in there, but you could throw an explosive trap in there to knock them back. To get stunned, you can also trap off your Binding Shot since your Binding Shot does not DR your trap, which is a pretty cool CC chain. The level 45 tier is pretty much our self-healing damage reduction tier. You have Exhilaration, which I do not use at all this expansion. Iron Hawk I would use on like burst comps in arena when I go up against them, and Spirit Bond is pretty much what I use the majority of the time. While your pet is active, you and your pet will regenerate 2% of your total health every 2 seconds. Alright, so let's look at the level 60 tier talents. You have Steady Focus, Dire Beast, and Thrill of the Hunt. Steady Focus I have not used at all this expansion period. Thrill of the Hunt I used once in a while to experiment, but Dire Beast is the clear winner here. I want to point out that Dire Beast also benefits from your Mastery as BM, where it increases the damage done by your pets by X%, which is another good thing, and one of the reasons why I chose this talent. It lasts 15 seconds, which is the same duration as Bestial Wrath and Crows on a target. And not that we're focus starved at VM, but it gives you 2 focus back every time it attacks as well. So when you're bursting, it kind of helps you keep up that focus. But like I said, we're not really focus starved. The next tier down, you have a Murder of Crows, Blink Strikes, and Stampede. 100% Murder of Crows. I feel you're gimping yourself without it. Raids, it might be different. You might run Stampede, but in PvP, Stampede's nerfed to where those Stampede pets only do 25% of normal damage. Where Crows is not affected by that, it will do its full damage. Crows also benefits from your Mastery as well as BM. And if you kill a target before the duration of Crows is done with, the cooldown will reset. So if you're bursting someone and they die and Crows was still on them for like say 5 more seconds, the cooldown is reset, and if you still have the burst effect up on you, you can just immediately start going ham on another guy with Crows, which is really nice. And that's another reason why I recommend Murder of Crows. Next talent down, we have Glaive Toss, Power Shot, and Barrage. Sometimes, as you've seen in my past videos, I would run Glaive Toss. That's not the case anymore. I run Barrage now because especially when you're bursting, and even when you're not bursting, the damage is just very, very noticeable over the other talents in this tier. You can get away with Glaive Toss if you're doing some World PvP and you're going up against 2 melee because you can slow them both down with 1 Glaive Toss if you line it up correctly. But even then, I run Barrage because, like I said, the damage difference is just very, 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 very noticeable. Level 100 talent tier, you have Exotic Munitions, Focusing Shot, and Adaptation. I really hope you're not using Focusing Shot. You're really, really gimping yourself. Exotic Munitions, yes, Frozen Arrow is nice, but for BM, the clear winner is Adaptation increases the effect of your pet's combat experience to 70% increased damage, which is huge. Your pet now gains the following abilities regardless of its active spec, and I'll go over that here in just a second. So basically, not taking this talent will gimp yourself as a Beast Mastery Hunter because you're just taking away unnecessary damage from going to the other two talents. Alright, in the pet talent tree you have Ferocious, Tenacious, and Cunning. For PvP, you're going to run Cunning because I think Bullheaded is a lot better than Heart of the Phoenix, especially since I do not have a problem with my pet dying all the time. Bullheaded removes all movement impairing effects and all effects which cause loss of control of your pet and reduces damage done to your pet by 20% for 12 seconds. For things that your Glyph of Men pet won't get rid of, and I'll go over glyphs here in just a second, it'll get rid of for you, like Cyclone or Stuns. Alright, now that the talents are done with, let's take a look at glyphs, starting with the minor glyphs. We have Glyph of Revive Pet, Glyph of Aspect of the Cheetah, and Glyph of Play Dead. The only minor glyph I recommend as mandatory is Glyph of Aspect of the Cheetah. Your Aspect of the Cheetah no longer causes you to be dazed when struck, instead the effect is cancelled, which is a really, really good tool glyph to help you kite. I mean, it's amazing. Glyph of Play Dead and Glyph of Revive Pet are pretty much optional. Minor glyphs in general for every class most of the time are optional. It's just the Glyph of Aspect of the Cheetah is just something I can't live without. Now for major glyphs, we have Glyph of Men Pet, Glyph of Animal Bond, and Glyph of Explosive Trap. Glyph of Men Pet gives your Men Pet ability a 100% chance of cleansing one curse, disease, magic, or poison effect from your pet each tick. That also includes Polymorph, Frost Nova, Caster Fears, Druid Roots, stuff along those lines. It will not get rid of Cyclone though, and of course it will not get rid of Stuns or Warrior Fears. You'll have to use Bullheaded for that, or if you're bursting, you can use Bestial Wrath to get out of that. Glyph of Animal Bond. While your pet is active, all healing done to you and your pet is increased by 10%. It's a really good help to your healer in arenas because it'll enhance his heals. If you're running a Spirit Beast, like if you're running Thug Cleave for example, you don't need to have the Mortal Strike pet, which is the Devil Sword. It'll enhance your Spirit Men as well on yourself. It will not, however, like I mentioned before, enhance your Spirit Bond. So keep that in mind. Glyph of Explosive Trap. Your Explosive Trap no longer deals damage. That's fine. It was poop damage anyway. Instead, knocking enemies back from the trap when it explodes. Now, if you do have to switch glyphs out, Glyph of Solace. Your Freezing Trap also removes all damage over time effects from its target. And sometimes Glyph of Liberation. Here it is. When you disengage, you're healed for 4% of your total health. Liberation, not so much. I don't think I've used this patch at all. More so, I would see Glyph of Solace overall if you're running PhD, which is Pally Hunter DK, because the DK is just throwing diseases everywhere and you want to trap something for CC. Then I see it mandatory in that regard over Men Pet. But for the most part, I'm using Men Pet, Animal Bond, and Explosive Trap. Alrighty, now that we got talents and glyphs done, let's take a look at our gear. Now, first off, I want to go over our stat priority as a Beast Mastery Hunter, and that is agility over mastery over versatility. Now, I want to go over trinkets first. For human hunters, you're going to use the 389 agility on use trinket and the 389 versatility proc trinket. For every other race in the game, you're going to use the 875 versatility medallion and the 389 agility on use trinket. Now, why are you using the on use trinket over the proc trinket as a Beast Mastery Hunter? Well, if you look at the cooldown of your Bestial Wrath and your Crows, it's 1 minute. And if you look at the on use trinket cooldown, it is also 1 minute. So you can macro this trinket in to your burst macro for more damage, and you don't have to wait for a proc. So say if you have 5 stacks to come up, you can hit the 5 stacks, then you use your burst macro and your trinket at the same time to maximize your damage. Now for gear, I'm going to just mouse over it. It's pretty much self-explanatory. I don't feel like there's much input required. Now, if you have any questions on the gear, feel free to leave the questions in the comments below and I'll answer them accordingly. So, starting at the bottom ring and going to the helm, like I said, I'm just going to mouse over them. One thing I want to point out about weapons is they all do the same damage. So if you want a gun, crossbow, or bow, don't feel you're gipping yourself for not going for the other type of weapon. Each ranged weapon does the same damage. It's just cosmetic is the only difference. Alright guys, let's look at our enchants now. And I'm going to start with the weapon enchant. Unlike other classes, we do not get our enchant from a normal enchanter. We actually get our weapon enchant, which is actually a scope, from an engineer. And the enchant you want to go with is Hemet's Heartseeker. Permanently attaches a superior scope to a ranged weapon, sometimes increasing mastery by 750 for 12 seconds when dealing damage with range attacks. An engineer can make this. It's very easy to make. If you're in my guild, just hit me up. I'll make it for you. Or if you're a friend of mine on the server or anyone on the server, just hit me up. I make it for you. It's literally very easy to make. As you can see here, it only costs gear spring parts. I have a lot of those. So, very, very inexpensive thing enchant to make. The next enchant you're going to go for is 75 mastery to the neck, 100 mastery and 10% speed to the cloak, and 50 mastery to rings. So pretty much you want to enchant mastery and get the Hemet Heartseeker scope for your ranged weapon, whether it be a gun, bow, or crossbow. Alright, that brings us to the final section of this guide, and that's how to do damage as a Beast Mastery Hunter. First off, I want to say, go through your spell book or ability book, whatever you want to call it, and just read all your abilities. It'll only take like maybe 10 minutes or so. It's not too long. But once you've done that, let's start by looking over pressure damage. Every 30 seconds you have a freeze trap. Every 30 seconds you have Dire Beast and Barrage that you can use. I know Barrage is on a 20-second cooldown, but I believe holding off and waiting for Dire Beast to be up is a much better way to do damage than just using them as soon as they're both up simultaneously. Save them to use together. You can't really macro them because they share the same global cooldown. So that being said, you're in a 2v2 arena and you're fighting a healer DPS, which is common. So what you're going to do is you're going to trap the healer. Now obviously you don't have your burst up because I'm using a pressure example here. You're going to trap the healer and you're going to use Dire Beast and Barrage. Now I've actually forced defensive cooldowns and in cases trinkets with just Dire Beast and Barrage because the damage is actually there. A lot of people are like, "Oh, your damage is only every minute." That's not true. It's every 30 seconds. And sometimes you can do damage outside of the 30-second window as well. Now that we've gone over pressure, let's look over burst damage. Now my burst macro is pretty much pet attack because I want to make sure my pet is on the target when I burst him, or if I do a hard swap to a guy, I don't have to hit my pet keybind first. It's in the macro, and I'll put the macro in the credits at the end of the video. So basically, I have pet attack in there, I have Bestial Wrath, I have my unused trinket, and then I have a Murder of Crows. Now, the reason I don't macro Dire Beast, Barrage, and Focus Fire with the Murder of Crows is those four abilities are on the same global cooldown. So basically what I'm going to do here, and I actually have 5 focus fire stacks. This icon right here indicates that you have focus fire stacks, by the way. I am going to use my focus fire stacks now. I'm going to hit Dire Beast. I'm going to hit my burst macro. And then I'm going to hit Barrage. And I'm going to follow up with the kill command. And while kill command's on cooldown, I'm just going to spam Arcane Shot and then go back to kill command since it's off cooldown. Now at 20%, you're going to prioritize kill shot over kill command because obviously it's going to do more damage, right? I'm going to show you a clip here. This was taken. This is actually something you, for those who've seen Devcom 9, I'm pulling this clip directly from Devcom 9, and I'm going to go over how I completely laid waste to this guy. Alright, as you can see here, my focus fire stack icon just appeared. So what I do here is I'm going to activate it. Now right here, the rogue did stun me. That's fine. I decided to set it. Focus fire lasts 20 seconds, where Bestial Wrath lasts 15. After my stun, though, I have activate my burst cooldown, or burst macro, I should say, and I just lay waste to him. So as you can see from that clip I showed you from Devcom 9, which is also right now available on YouTube, your 5 focus fire stacks with your Bestial Wrath does a hell of a lot of damage. It pretty much almost deletes people. That being said, there are times where you can burst without stacks, and I'm going to give you a perfect example here. You're playing Thug Cleave, an opportunity presents itself, the healer is CC'd, the kill target has no way of preventing or mitigating any of the damage that's coming to him. He's out of defenses, and then your off target DPS is just no way capable of helping him whatsoever. In that case, use whatever you have and burst him down, because Bestial Wrath without stacks still does a good amount of damage. Like, it's very decent and very scary. And in this scenario, you're more than likely to either force a trinket if he has one, or the target's just gonna die. And a lot of times, if you do force a trinket, you can expect defensive cooldowns as well. So either way, it's gonna be a win, and you got something out of the healer. So just keep those situations in mind. Use your judgment and take advantage of the opportunity that presents itself. Now let's talk about what you do as far as damage when you have nothing up, like you don't have Dire Beast, Barrage, Beast Wrath, anything up. Everything's on cooldown. In that case, well, you should be doing this all the time anyway. Always have Concussive Shot up on the target you're going after. Use Kill Command off cooldown, the short cooldown it has. And then when Kill Command's on cooldown, use Arcane Shot as a filler. And then use Cobra Shot to replenish your focus when need be. Now, that all being said, I pretty much covered damage for the most part. Feel free to leave questions in the comments below, as if you have any other questions. I'm going to end this video with a clip that I'm thinking about putting into Devcom 10. Pretty much what this is showing, where I have focus fire stacks, but I don't have a target because I just killed one. And I luckily end up having a target that just rezzed, and I take full advantage of it. Hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this guide. I hope it wasn't too brain dead boring. And I'll see you guys later. Oh, hey, guess I got lucky here. This guy's about to get wrecked. He's gonna get wrecked. Oh, oh. Get wrecked to the next dimension. See ya.